Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is episode 59, and it is I, Colton Robertson.
You say 69.
I didn't say 69, but
damn.
But we'll get there one day.
Okay, yeah.
10 episodes from now, actually.
That'll be pretty soon.
Well, that'll be a nice episode.
That will.
It is I, Colton Robertson, joined by none other than the magnificent Tavares Peddington.
Hello.
It's funny that I'm saying none other because we actually do a podcast where you are not there.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to continue saying none other, but
thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Appreciate your work on the other podcast.
Oh,
really
I mean, it doesn't feel like work when I'm talking about The Mandalorian.
Right.
I love me some Star Wars. I'm going to talk about it.
There you go.
What you been up to, buddy? It's been a few weeks since we've gotten to link.
Kids don't go to college.
And if you are, drop out.
No, seriously, it's just been hectic. We're in college during Corona. It's something else entirely.
It's a lot.
It's not.
It's a lot.
It's not normal. None of this shit's normal. Nothing's normal anymore. Joe Biden
won the election.
Kamala Harris.
Here's the thing. Obviously, I didn't want fucking Donald Trump. Obviously. But I wanted some sort of workaround. I wanted some sort of workaround where the whole thing collapsed here.
Yeah.
And then we had to rebuild it with someone else.
Yeah, no, that would be ideal. It's just like there is watching the presidential debates, especially. There's just a certain level of intelligence I would expect when it comes to political discourse that has not and still, it doesn't seem like we're gonna get it. It just seems like we got to agree that politics is the peak of politics right now is Donald Trump versus Joe Biden.
Which is just, here's the thing. If I'm watching a presidential debate and I go at 20 years old without a college degree, I am smarter than both of these motherfuckers.
Yeah, no.
And
literally.
That might be cocky. I also think they're both just that dumb.
Yeah, they've said some harebrained shit.
It's just, and I got a Snapchat earlier today from my boy Trenton, and he was like, he's Republican, so he hit me up.
Doing that.
Yeah, he hit me up, and he sent me a TikTok that was like Democrats in 2020. It was like, we don't want an old white guy who locks people up, da da da. And then it was like Joe Biden won the election, and they're like, oh my god, everything's fixed.
What?
And he goes, oh, I mean, let me get to it. And he said, this isn't you, but watch this. And I was like, well, fucking duh, it isn't me. I'm not a Democrat.
Yeah. Fooled them.
And I was like, from now on, if you want to make fun of Democrats, please do. Please send them to me. I will agree. But also, don't justify it with, this isn't you, because I know it's not me.
Yeah, I know it's not me. Don't even, that's not, we weren't even ever asking that question.
See, and now it makes me think whenever I send jokes to him that he wants me to justify them with, this isn't you.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. I'm not sending jokes to him that are him.
Right. I've definitely had that experience, especially during this, I guess, what was a highly tense political season. It's already starting to die off now.
Discourse overall is tapering off.
Right. And that's how it always goes. But I would get political things from people that I knew, and I'm like, like this one dude sent me a video of why socialism doesn't work, and I was just like, I don't care.
Someone sent me a fan cam of Kamala Harris. It was like, we did it, and I was like, fuck is we?
Yeah, we. You're like,
who you speaking French to? Cause
how many people you send this to?
Because I know you ain't talking about you and I. Don't get me wrong, we can separate the fact that Kamala Harris is the first black woman to hold the office of vice president. Amazing. Absolutely awesome. Yeah. But we can also acknowledge the fact that Kamala Harris fucking sucks.
Right. And it's not a matter of I saw something about Joe Biden's transition team being more than half people of color. And that's great and all, but ultimately, like, I don't necessarily want to hear about, like, I don't think that that's the first point you make. You once they do something good, then you make the point that, hey, maybe they worked better together than historical transition teams because of the fact that they're more diverse.
Maybe.
Not, hey, they're more diverse, therefore everything they will do will be good. That's you've inverted the operation there. We don't know that.
I was listening to a podcast, and it was this guy, Mike Guadabasio, who made this point that was like, I was looking at Joe Biden's COVID team, and I was just so excited to see that all of them had doctor in front of their name. That's not something I should be excited about. That should be normal.
Yeah, no, that
should be expected.
Literally.
And so he was just, and like, that is the one thing that I'll say I'm glad about this election, is that I don't think the normal is good in our country, but at least we won't have an absolute fucking moron fueling hate in a position of power like that.
Right, and sowing division, and just in general being, he fired someone today for from the Department of Homeland Security for denying outright the claims of like voter fraud and shit.
And the man just keeps tweeting, "I won the election," in all caps. And here's the thing, is that like, the reason people who worship Trump are believing him is because months ago he started saying that mail-in ballots are fraudulent,
right,
that there are going to be problems. And when he talks about that 4 months in advance, obviously by the time the mail-in ballots come in, he's going to be like, what do you guys think?
Right.
I've been telling you for months this is bullshit. Like, it's not bullshit. It's just,
I don't know. I had an inkling of a feeling that he was going to have problems accepting defeat, and I think most other people did as well. And, time and time again, Trump does nothing. Well, he does something to surprise us, yet nothing, which is the unfortunate part of Trump.
It's just like, it keeps getting more and more like, I've never seen someone who cares more about his image and more about what you think of him, that still somehow, simultaneously, is just, so unlikable, and like persist. Like, I do not get it. I don't get it one bit how anybody on fucking earth could like this man.
Oh, no.
Come at me. I don't give a fuck. It's like,
he's just not a good person.
I can't even conceive of what someone could possibly like about it. Like, I don't have the slightest guess. I haven't the foggiest. I do not know, and I do not get it. I never will.
Yes, I don't think I will either. It's 2016 was a goddamn 2016 to 2020. I just think everyone will, after this point, try to collectively block it out of their memory, because it's been a shit time. But ultimately, we're going to be able to say we lived through the Trump era.
See, it's like Trumpism won't die, though, because he didn't create the shit.
No.
He's just the one who it boiled up into. These were the whispers being laid out by the GOP for years of Islamophobia, and sprinkling in the homophobia and these reversing Roe v. Wade.
Had you heard about that woman who ran for Congress in Georgia, who was a black woman running as a Republican?
I did not.
Have you heard her? I kept seeing her tweets. And, like, I was like, eventually, she tweeted something today or yesterday about, you see the new Lil Nas X cover?
Oh, yeah.
Him with himself?
Yeah.
It's a Lil Nas X cover. Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad. She like, went on this whole thing about, this is what
you're selling to black kids. And
yeah. So you saw that?
Yes.
I saw that tweet, and I went and looked at her account. And then I realized who this was. I thought this was like someone who
just
actually
random person
won Congress in Georgia, because she still has like that. She's like representing whatever district. And I obviously coming from Georgia, especially like it looked like Atlanta. I think that's her district. But I was like, probably a Democrat. And I look at it and it's like Republican, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I go look down at her older tweets, and like I'm just like, holy shit. They just give an explicit story about pull yourself up by your bootstraps. She's like, I was a felon, had 3 kids, was in jail. Like this crazy ass backstory that leads to her being in Congress, which is great. But then it's to go speak out against Lil Nas X. And then also attach a photo that Lil Nas X took representative of his own art and attribute that to the entirety of the black community to say this is what the black community promotes. No, this is what one dude made.
Yeah, it's not
put into the world.
There was another person coming at him for that too the other day, and he was like, "This is the message you want to send to kids? Kids listen to your music, man. What are you doing?" He's like, "I do not control who listens to my music. That is not on me. I create what I want to create.
Yeah.
If you don't want your kids to see it, do not show your kids it."
Yeah.
Like,
literally. And it's like, also, I'm not going to help you raise your kids to be homophobic pieces of shit.
Like, there you are. That's you are. I saw something earlier today where Shea Serrano, I fucking love Shea Serrano. He tweeted like, shout out to all my trans homies. And someone responded, was like, "I don't think it's very cool of you to promote a mental illness like this because all the trans people are obviously mentally ill." And
obviously
he said, "Fuck you," blocked him, and tweeted a picture of him flipping the middle finger. And I was like, God, I fucking love Shea Serrano. I love that man.
Yeah, no, that's I just people are very biased.
Fuck transphobes. All my homies hate transphobes.
All my homies hate transphobes. That's such a good meme.
Oh, dude, I drop that meme all the time.
Yeah.
Shall we get into the episode a little bit?
I think so.
All right, so the rest of the episode will have nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do with politics.
We just needed to talk about it a little bit. It's actually, we're going to keep talking about the Batman.
Yeah, this is Batman Binge Part 2.
Yeah, or
no,
Part
Batman
3.
Binge Part 3.
We have Batman and Robin. The Batman
I forgot
Begins.
we did Batman and Robin.
Now we'll do The Dark Knight. Fucking phenomenal movie. All-timer. After that, we're going to talk about some of the shit we've seen on Apple TV. That I've seen on Apple TV Plus. I've been carving through that shit. And, we'll close it off with some other segment that we haven't had the idea for yet, but we will later. Sound like a deal?
Sounds like a deal.
All right, let's roll that tape.
Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dads, listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. Get some weed in now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
So the Batman Binge continues with The Dark Knight. How do you feel about this movie? We've been watching it for years. How do you feel about this movie?
Do you want to know how I got this smile?
Watching The Dark Knight. I want to know how I got these scars.
Yeah, no, The Dark Knight is just it's just a pure out classic. I don't know how else to begin. It's
just the best. While we were watching it, I said to you, this is not just one of the best superhero movies ever. This is just like straight up one of the best
movies ever made. Like, in terms of what the goal is, and in terms of the completion of the goal, in terms of making a Batman film, like not just a comic booky movie, but a film, like a movie that people actually take seriously and get dramatically invested into. It's never been done better.
And there are few portrayals of good and evil that come across quite as clear as Batman versus Joker,
Yeah.
And obviously, Batman's not 100% good or anything.
Right.
But he's definitely not the Joker.
No, definitely not the Joker. But there's a dichotomy at play here, which is interesting. They deal with a lot of complex issues, which is this idea that one necessitates the other.
Absolutely. No, Joker says that multiple times.
Exactly.
He's like, you won't kill me.
Right.
You need me.
And
it's like...
that's always been true. That's always been true of the Batman comics, and for whatever reason, whether or not it is founded in the idea of Batman not killing anyone. But at the same time, like, I think it speaks a lot about, like, the nature of the world in a lot of ways. Like, that you have sort of this, you have one side of things that just, like, seeks to express things purely emotionally, and another side that is, like, purely, like, attempts to be purely rational.
Yeah, 100%. And Joker says during the movie that he's not crazy. He's just ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
He's like, eventually, everyone will lose their minds.
Uh-huh.
Everyone will be just as murderous as I am. And that's what he sets out to prove by, rigging the ships to explode.
Right.
And obviously that backfires.
Yeah. No, it does.
Turns out Batman wins that battle.
Yeah. Batman in general, too, is... He's kind of like this. You can tell he's on his way out. I remember watching this and thinking that this was the last Batman movie for the series. I was like, damn, just 2 movies, like, and it did take them another 4 years to put out the next one.
Yeah, it certainly feels that way. That this was kind of possibly the send off. I mean, obviously, you don't have quite the completion you would have looked for, but they could have left it at this.
Yeah, they could have.
The only reason they can't is that now Batman's on the run,
right? And
that's kind of crucial.
Yeah, yeah. But it almost felt like this movie, I mean, and I know. Do you know how The Sopranos ends? No.
Oh, you
finish it?
No, but I know how it ends, which is just I've heard what the last scene is because it pissed a lot of people.
I've heard that it was controversial. That's why I kind of was like.
And if they had ended the Dark Knight, I guess what would have been 2 movies at that point, with him on the run, it would have kind of felt like this is just his life. This is what it's always going to be. He's always going to be. He's always going to be the hero they need.
There's no redemption in the end of The Sopranos, I'm assuming.
I'm guessing not.
Yeah.
Because I don't know the complete story, but I know enough to be like, I don't think the story is quite like.
Yeah, yeah, and that's exactly, honestly, even still, and we'll get to this next week probably. But like when we get to The Dark Knight Rises, like I feel like that movie ends in a way very similarly to this one.
Oh,
for
yeah.
me at least. I was.
It didn't have to be the end.
I did not feel like they had tied the knot and wrapped the bow or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it was just kind of like
they were just kind of like
that.
They were just kind of they just like stopped.
That's that.
It's like a dancing show or something, or a tap dancing show where they're just tap dancing and they stop and then they go. And they throw their arms out to the side. That's all we got, folks. That's all we made.
Bro. Pretty much. But let's talk about The Dark Knight a little bit. How do you feel about this dichotomy they struck between Harvey Dent and Bruce Wayne Batman?
It's really interesting. It's like even more than that, the triangle they built between Gordon.
Yeah, because
Batman
they all
and,
represent
Harvey.
Something kind of.
Right, different pillars of justice. Honestly, you got like this form of street justice. You got this form of semi-corrupt police justice, and then like the actual justice system, which is seen as like this perfect symbol. This thing that is impenetrable. That is just always has to be the most clean cut thing. And it's sort of like whereas Harvey's at the top, you take a step down, you get to Jim Gordon, you take another step down, you get to Batman, who's like, in the underground.
Yeah.
It's really interesting when you think about the world in those terms too, because, you have the person who can serve as the image, you have the person who will get the work done, and also still kind of adhere to semi-public image, and then you got the person who just completely forgets what
fuck what the people think. I'm gonna do what needs to be done.
Exactly, like doesn't even have an image.
Exactly.
Those are like kind of 3 levels to think about. I guess just justice in general.
Yeah, overall, and one thing I really like about this movie is that they made a point to call Harvey the White Knight multiple times, so as to contrast with the Dark Knight.
Right.
It was like this was the hero they needed, They needed to believe Harvey Dent was, and he was, once upon a time. He was that thoroughly trying to do what was right dude.
Yeah.
And the Joker got to him in a way that he couldn't get to Batman,
Yeah, no.
drove him mad.
And it's especially interesting too because I think that they did a good job at tying together a specific conflict for Batman's character throughout 3 films, which is this idea of like why do you like what is the purpose of Batman? Like what are you really trying to accomplish here? And ultimately, I think everyone acknowledges, that the point of Batman is to at some point not exist. It is to solve
so that it's to clear the streets so that Batman doesn't have to be there.
Right. Because Gotham was in just such a terrible state. But, it's weird though, because like, especially from a viewer's perspective, like you are already invested in the existence of Batman. You want Batman to be out fighting crime.
You don't want him to not have to exist.
Right, exactly. And you don't want this story to end, especially this specific story, because like the Nolans just fucking, I don't know.
Jonathan Nolan and Christopher
What do you think
Nolan
they did growing up for fun?
Bro, wrote.
That's it.
I promise, bro. Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy wrote Westworld. You cannot not be a little bit crazy to have come up with Westworld.
You got to be a little bit crazy for sure.
And I know we mentioned multiple times how Heath Ledger really obviously elevates this character into something that it never had been before.
Yeah.
But that's in part because of the writing that was provided, and obviously, like, getting to that dark of a place that they definitely get to in Westworld. It's just, it's always so captivating. It gets me every time.
Yeah, no, it does too, because I feel like they understand how to reward their readers, like,
there you go.
And their viewers. Like, they know how to make things pay off in a way that, like, makes you that ensures you continue watching even after the payoffs, because you don't know what the other payoffs are, and you're like, yo, they've been the way they had been building it up before. I can't wait to see how this ends.
Exactly.
And I mean, even if their endings, I feel like their endings are kind of more lackluster than not. Like the endings of Interstellar, of Westworld seasons of the Batman movies, they're very inconclusive, which is aggravating, but also probably artistically valuable.
Yeah.
It's all up for interpretation type shit.
Yeah.
And they really buy into that or whatever. But, like, at the same time, sometimes I just want to know what the fuck happened. Like, I'm like, yo, tell me what to think. Like, I don't need to do all
I don't
this
want to
work
do the mental gymnastics.
Yeah, to figure out what Batman riding away means. Like, where's he going? Is he going home? Is he running away?
Where's he running, bro? Where's he running to?
Where is Alfred?
What's he gonna do? What's Alfred gonna do?
Why is this just called Alfred? Why is it called the Batman? It's really about Alfred. Batman is just, it's a dude he supports. Fucking makes food for it and tells him to be smart.
This was also the darkest interpretation of Harvey Dent yet.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Because we've had Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent. Once upon a time, he never went full-blown Two-Face, but he was Harvey Dent for a time. And then we had Tommy Lee Jones, who was just a kind of a kooky, funny character to coincide with the Riddler.
But, like, Tommy Lee Jones is not okay, he obviously, his performance in Men in Black, he can be funny, but he's stoic funny. He is the funny that is funny without smiling, without ever actually making a joke.
And don't get me wrong, I really do appreciate Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face, especially the character design itself.
Oh, yeah,
it looks really cool.
I just don't think that
it didn't match up. It didn't work very well, I don't think. What I'm really glad is we never actually had to see Billy D. Williams go full Two-Face, because there's no way Billy D. Williams goes fully unlikable enough to not to be Two-Face.
Yeah, right.
It's always going to be Billy D. And no, he's he's the smoothest motherfucker in the galaxy.
Yeah, that would be weird, just straight up weird. I'm trying to. I don't know why, but you saying that made me want to watch Star Wars for some reason.
Oh, I mean, the Empire Strikes Back when Lando Calrissian shows up is just immaculate.
Chef's kiss.
Whoa, what have we here? It's just the best. Yeah. I love it. But this is certainly the darkest Harvey Dent we ever got.
Yeah.
And just the way they made his face look after he's been burnt to hell.
Right.
I mean, just graphic as hell.
Very graphic. And this
cheeks
movie,
burnt away.
This movie is just a repetitive cycle of iconic scenes.
Oh, dude.
Iconic moments.
They just kept coming. About 30 minutes into the movie, we paused it. We were like, there have been 6 moments where we were like, that's an iconic scene.
Yeah.
And we were 30 minutes into the movie.
30 minutes in. Just like every single, like you're just like, damn. Yeah, man, I remember this one. Oh, man, this one's so good. Oh, you know what?
I mean, like Harvey Dent at the beginning, he says the line, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. And then, I mean, fucking later on, you want to know how I got these scars? Just that first scene with Joker. Not the very first scene with Joker, obviously. I mean, the bank robbery scene is immaculate. The best bank robbery scene in any movie ever.
Yeah.
Proof that you don't really need heist movies. It can be accomplished in 10 minutes.
It can be accomplished, yes. That's all you got to do.
But when he comes in and finds the mob bosses and stuff all talking to each other, and he sets the pencil up, he goes, want to see a magic trick? I'll make it disappear. And then another guy approaches him, he just slams his face on it. It's gone. It's in his eye.
Yeah.
And it's like, God, this guy is fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, literally, like I don't understand. Like I just remember watching the Joker just being shook. Like I was just like, man, who the fuck is this?
Yo, and later on in that movie when they're at the party for Harvey Dent and he shows up.
Yeah. Dude is terrifying.
If I'm in that room as an extra, I am actually afraid that I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
The way that man was just approaching people and fucking with them a little bit.
And generally afraid of, you don't know what the fuck is going on. You're like, what is he going to do?
What's the fuck? Yeah, exactly. That's the point of the Joker.
Yeah.
Literally. You know, is the chaos. He's an agent of chaos. He doesn't have a plan. He's not a man with a plan. He's just like,
yeah, right.
We'll fucking do it and we'll see.
It has never made sense to me.
Oh, he's clearly a man with a plan.
That man has some plans, like,
bro, that man's got some schemes.
Detailed.
He doesn't have a plan for an end, like with Jonathan,
right?
Like with Jonathan Nolan,
right? Yeah,
doesn't have a plan. He just needs.
He just needs to assert the thing. He's just like, I need to tell you all something that's really fucked up, but I'm going to tell you anyway and show you.
It's not about the money. It's about sending a message, and like. I don't think he even knows what the message is.
No.
He's just like, it's about saying something. And it's about just fucking doing that. Like, I'm going to do what the fuck I want. And I have fun because you can't stop me.
Right.
Or you could stop me, but you continuously choose not to. You know, with the not killing him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Joker is a very interesting... and you know we saw this with the Joker movie, like that would be really interesting, honestly, to think. Well, I guess you know they occur. They're two very different Jokers with very different purposes.
Oh, 100%. The idea of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker actually going off against the Batman is strange.
That is kind of strange, isn't it?
Because I think Batman deals with that Joker in seconds.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Well, it was it's young Joker. He's not really the
different Joker, yeah. I mean, it's just a different Joker. It's a different. I don't think that Joker's supposed to face off with Batman.
Right. But think about why that movie is so good though, because people like that movie is so good because that's almost even more like realistic, like grounded in reality than The Dark Knight is, which is a very gritty movie.
Yeah, yeah. There's no superhero. It's just a dude who is a murderer,
right? And everything that he does is completely believable. Like there are definitely parts of The Dark Knight where you're like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, like
this
okay,
is still
sure,
a superhero.
Yeah.
Like this can be real life drama or whatever, but like that shit ain't happening. Everything in that movie, like you're like, man, this could happen.
Could happen,
and that's kind of point. This could be any. Like that's kind of
that's kind of the point of the joke. That movie is,
yeah.
This could be anyone,
but like. The joke, especially what Heath Ledger does with the Joker in terms of like the way that he, down to the like smallest detail, he embodies like this entity of the Joker. I never even like I remember watching this like The Dark Knight for the first time, and not even questioning who was acting as the Joker. I didn't know for a while that it was Heath Ledger.
That man just was the Joker. Like it was just like you. Because I've seen Heath Ledger in plenty of other stuff. I like Heath Ledger. I like 10 Things I Hate About You. I love A Knight's Tale. Those are great movies. And when I look at those are Heath Ledger. But then I look at the Joker.
And you're like, that was who?
That is, he just immersed into that fucking character. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no. And it's crazy that he had to lose his life so soon after that. But like,
so sad. So sad.
It's just like weirdly, when shit like that happens, it's hard not to read it as being associated. Like how deep he got
deeply he
this,
got into
like,
that character.
Very psychotic character.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that like if you, and like I don't know enough about the situation, but speaking in broad strokes, if you immerse yourself into somebody like that, who has that view of the world, and you spend enough time in that headspace, it's bound to get to you. You know,
right?
It's just eventually it'll be like, well, maybe he's onto something. Like it's just bound to happen.
Yeah, no, that it kind of is, and that's like the danger and art of acting. In
some cases, certainly,
like
with the Joker, or the character that was this chaotic and dark.
Yeah, it was just something else entirely.
Bleak, just nothing positive about the man.
No. I mean, maybe his passion, his drive.
He certainly had a passion for chaos.
He had an intelligence to him.
He was smart. Yeah, but like these qualities in and of themselves are neither good or bad.
Yeah, that's
I'd
true.
say.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true, and
it's what they do with him that is good or bad.
It's what you do with them. Yeah. I also want to talk about too, just like generally, like everything that goes into making the plot line of this movie come alive. Because like think about how how much shit develops over.
It's so intersecting too, because like the way you talked about how Harvey, Jim, and Batman stories are all pretty much paralleled, you know, and the way that they respond to the Joker. That story ties in with Rachel.
Yeah.
That story ties in with fucking Jim's family. Like it's just everyone's story ends up intersecting.
Right.
It's just phenomenal writing.
Even like this is kind of the movie where, you know, like all the big changes happen, making Jim Gordon officially commissioner and all of that. And like, even when you look at the people who, I guess aren't like, they're very peripheral characters, like the judge,
the mayor and stuff like that.
Yeah, the mayor, Commissioner Loeb, all of them, like, you know, they're real Batman. They're real characters from the Batman universe. But the way that they get utilized is to sort of represent this new, or like what is this kind of old age of Gotham.
Yeah.
Especially like one reminiscent of Batman Begins, which I feel like takes place even though they're pretty close together, I'm assuming in the timeline of the universe, because, you know, he got the hint about Joker at the end of Begins.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I still feel like Begins Batman and Dark Knight Batman are like very, very different. Like Dark Knight Batman is far more advanced than Begins Batman.
Oh yeah.
And like because of that, like watching the continual transition of the city through its stages, you know, like from old to new, I think that like it was kind of the writers almost pushing the reader to be like, no, like we're like we've been saying time without Batman, like we've been questioning his purpose.
Well, what's interesting too is like the literal view of the city we get too. In Batman Begins, that movie almost entirely takes place at night.
Yeah.
And in this one we get some more daytime scenes. And I remember Dark Knight Rises it's almost entirely daytime.
Yeah. Oh shit.
I think they evolved the movies from darker to light, judging by how the state of Gotham.
Fuck.
Right?
I never even thought about that. That is crazy.
Because like Bane collapses the stadium in broad daylight.
There's very few, and then there's very few, because the only ones I can think of is like when Bane and Batman fight for the first time. And then there's at the very beginning of the party. I don't know why I'm talking about that.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a definite evolution that they meant to show you in Gotham, and by ushering in Commissioner Jim Gordon and creating making Harvey Dent that White Knight to show that they are getting saved. You know, like
they
Gotham
created a
can
martyr.
Be good.
Yes, they created a
martyr.
And the thing is, like, as tragic as that is, or as tragic, like, you know, that's it's just like fucked up generally to think about the circumstances of that situation.
Oh yeah, Harvey Dent killed like 5 people.
He killed like 5 people. Went from being like this city's savior to being like just this like crazy dude. By the end of the movie, like his fall from grace was epic, and like literally, the move to then make him out as a martyr so that like the city can survive and he can become a symbol that's larger than life. Literally,
that's what Batman's about too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what.
And
that's
why they continue to mirror each other.
Right. Then it becomes interesting, you know, when Harvey makes statements like I am the Batman, and Bruce Wayne makes statements like it doesn't matter who's under the mask, like,
and I believe in Harvey Dent.
I believe in Harvey Dent. Yeah, things like that. And it's like they were kind of pushing you to be like, we are giving Gotham the pieces to resolve itself. And
their storylines revolve around the same woman.
Yeah.
Like they're both in love with Rachel.
Yeah.
They're both doing things to protect Rachel for the most part.
Yeah.
You know? And like there's just so many just perfect parallels between them. It's just the Joker was able to break one of them. Right. Yeah. And Joker says it at the end of the movie. He's like, you're just an immovable force, huh? You just you will not lose it.
Yeah. No, he's too he's got, I don't want to say too much of his sanity because Batman's probably a little insane.
He's got something wrong with him, I'll tell you that.
But, like, maybe too much tragedy, I guess. But,
a little too much trauma.
I mean, also, I guess witnessing your parents dying is
that's pretty rough. Tragic. Don't get me wrong. I'm not passing judgment or anything. It's just the man dresses up as a bat and fights people at night. You know, it's it comes with the territory. This man's got a little bit of a little. His nuts and bolts aren't all there.
Right. Yeah. No. And that's fine. You know, it's Batman.
It's Batman.
But like, just thinking about like how they created a superhero story at the time that like was, I feel like, far more advanced and conceptual than any other like superhero movie you're getting. Like, it's all about like this idea that anyone can be Batman, that Batman is a force for good, and that there are necessary conflicts that Batman will come in contact with. You'll have to, you know, deal in the underground and deal in the
he does what others can't. You know, he takes the fall for 5 murders and 2 police officers, you know.
And I didn't understand, and I really didn't understand those comments watching that as a kid, like.
Oh, no, and that's the thing, too, is it's funny how much I watched this as a kid and didn't understand it. Yeah. And just took it at face value as, like, this is a badass movie.
There was points in my, like, there are very distinct points in my life where I'm watching movies that I've seen over and over and over. And you're being just like, I'm just now understanding what this story is actually saying.
That's what I love about having been a movie watcher my whole life. Yeah. But only as of the last couple of years actually analyzing movies. Yeah. Because, like, whenever, like, I'm trying to think of one where that happened to me. About Time, which is just a movie from, like, 2015 with Rachel McAdams and the guy who plays Hux in the sequel trilogy of Star Wars. I watched that movie when I was 15, and I teared up and I cried and stuff because it was moving. And then I go back and I rewatch it. I'm like a few years later, and I was like, oh my God, this was way deeper than I thought it was.
Damn.
Just like I was like, God, there's levels to this shit that I did not get. And like, that's just what's so beautiful about good cinema is that just the way you can revisit it and learn new things when you watch it. Yeah. And this is certainly one of those.
This is definitely one of those. And like, getting that sort of value from the movie, I feel like is what the Nolans are interested in. They're interested in like creating something that is highly conversable. They want people to talk about like what the movie
it means.
Yeah, and that seems. I don't know. All good art does that.
Oh yeah, and I mean that is absolutely par for the course with the Nolans. I mean, Interstellar, Westworld, The Dark Knight,
and then but like also what they're good at is like not like people who have absolutely no like interest in following the story or thinking about it critically will still watch The Dark Knight or Interstellar and be like, that shit looked dope.
Yeah, Westworld you might get a bit confused.
Which, no, they wouldn't get into Westworld.
I mean, Christopher Nolan didn't direct that.
yeah. But like, I feel like it's tragic to see. I hate when people are like, I just like, like it just look cool. I'm just like, bro.
Nah, and I get it though.
It looked cool. What the fuck have you been doing for the past hour and a half?
Bro, we just watched Parasite. You telling me it looked pretty? That's your one. That's your one comment.
That's it. That's all you got to say. Like,
watched Blind Spotting with a homie, and he was like, "Man, he really killed that last verse."
Wait, you did? Wait, who was that?
It was my my boy Malik.
Oh, was it Malik? Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh yeah, and like I got that. Like I didn't expect it. And there are very few people that I sit down and watch things with and expect them to look at it critically.
Yeah.
And I think you're the only person I sit down with to watch things and expect you to think about it critically. Like I'll be with some friends and like I'll make a comment about a movie that we're watching, like, wow, I can't believe they just connected this to this, and they'll be like, how'd they connect that to that? And I was like,
yeah,
they did this.
No, yeah, right.
Like
hey,
there was visual cues and everything.
You figure it out.
It's just
yeah, no, and I've definitely experienced that too. Like it's just I don't know. Sometimes I feel like, especially when I've watched a movie, I'm gonna talk about it. Like, it's just I'm gonna talk about it.
Why else would we watch a movie than to not be able to talk about it later?
I know.
Like, that's what I want to do after I watch a movie. Is I'm gonna find someone who's also watched this movie,
exactly,
and we're gonna talk about the movie.
Also, this is a very side note. Uncut Gems. That movie, every single person I've brought that movie up to will be like, you like that? Like, I've met one person who liked it, maybe two, but most people are just like, I couldn't do it.
Well,
and
that makes sense though. Like, I also get that.
Exactly, which is like, I totally understand it, but to me that says more about the movie. The fact that they replicated that first like 20 to 30 minutes that you and I experienced watching it with most people who watched it, like, you did something. Because everybody's just like, I hated like
the
myself.
way it made me feel.
Yeah, I hated myself in those moments. Like, I felt like I was doing something wrong. It just made me feel bad. Like, and that's what it does. That shit, I remember, like, we both, like, looked at each other like, yo, what the fuck is going on? What are we watching?
We were like, I remember it was us two and one other guy in the theater, because by the end of the movie, that man was asleep. Yeah. He was gone.
I remember that. We were high as hell.
And we were like, should we wake this man up? And we were like, nah, if he fell asleep during Uncut Gems,
yeah,
I don't know how he did that. He must have been tired, bro. Like,
that movie, like, we would keep looking over at each other like,
what's going on?
I can't stop
shaking,
moving,
bro.
like,
that movie just like ignites your anxiety.
It does.
It's
so bad. It's so bad,
but so good.
But anyways,
but yeah, The Dark Knight has a similar emotional effect in terms of just like the way it provokes feeling. You know,
right? Yeah.
The whole thing resonates with you. I watch every scene in this movie and like, I'm always captivated. I never and that's, I mean, part of that's the power of the dialogue in this movie, because obviously there's it's not like a wowing special effects marathon either. You know, it's just, they actually blew up that building. They actually blew up the quote unquote hospital. I mean, it wasn't the movie, but it wasn't a hospital in real life, I don't think.
They wanted to make a superhero that identified with people. Like, you can watch, your childish superhero stories, but you don't truly identify with them. You identify with the ideal. You identify with the spectacle of it. Like, you don't identify with the actual ethics of the heroes, because those ethics are like, they're just, I don't think they're expanded on like enough in comics.
Not nearly enough.
They don't talk.
Yeah.
Like they don't talk about. I guess in later times, like Black Panther would be an example of a comic that I think definitely handles ethics as its primary issue, but that's also because it's written by Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt.
Like they're usually talking about like pow pow pow, like crazy story going on.
Yeah,
things are getting wild,
and like that's the thing too, is that like there is a place for that. Obviously, that's what comic books are. But they're an exciting story. But
right.
Anytime you can throw that excitement at me and ground it in real world philosophy, ethics, and just overall
situations
that could
really happen, like it's like real political turbulence that could legitimately, like there could really be a big mafia out there who they're trying to catch on RICO cases and have a dude in Laos fucking laundering their money for them.
Absolutely. I'm not too worried about a being with 6 Infinity Stones on his hand snapping away half the population.
Right.
And that's mad entertaining.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Exactly.
I love watching it, but it's like it's not going to hit the same as a villain like the Joker.
Yeah.
Somebody who, I mean, could be anybody. That's like you know nothing about this guy.
You know nothing,
and he make that a major point of the movie. The way he keeps switching his story as to how he got his scars.
Yeah,
the way they know nothing about him at the police station. He hand knitted his own clothes.
Yeah,
like he did all the shit. He burned away his fingerprints. You know nothing of this man.
You know nothing. Like
no dental records, which probably has something to do with why his teeth are so fucking yellow.
God damn.
I mean,
I would look at that and be like, ugh, I need to brush my teeth.
Oh, God. Oh, somebody give me some floss. But, yeah, I mean, The Dark Knight's just a fucking phenomenal movie.
Yeah, no, it's definitely 10 out of 10. No question about it.
No question.
Even watching it for what's probably my 15th or 20th time.
Something like that. But it all depends on the
I
size
I
of
could
the
be
get.
Yeah, I could be scrolling through something on my phone and still get like lose track of what I'm doing, getting sucked into the movie still. Like even though I'm basically like telegraphing the lines before they come and knowing exactly what they're gonna say, and I'm still just like I need to watch.
Good. And I keep bringing it back to Westworld because it reminds me of Westworld every time I rewatch. And I always use this as the example because it's the best season of television I've ever watched. It's the first season of Westworld. Whenever I rewatch that, and I know what's coming every time. But every time I watch it, I start connecting more and more dots. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I can't believe they mentioned something in the second episode that is relevant in season 2, episode 8.
Yeah.
You know, like, how'd they do that?
How'd they do that?
Like, that's just...
The forethought is crazy. It's off the charts.
The storytelling is just phenomenal, and The Dark Knight has that written all over it.
Oh,
just phenomenal storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
Shall we move on?
I believe so.
So let's talk some Apple TV Plus. Obviously, you've had the access through being at my house when we've ever gotten the chance. So all we've watched together is On the Rocks and the first episode of Defending Jacob.
Yeah.
But I have watched a whole fucking lot of Apple TV Plus lately, buddy. Let me tell you. Because On the Rocks was the first thing I watched on Apple TV Plus. Since then, I have watched 4 of the comedy series they have available and 1 docuseries. Obviously, these are all 1 season. This just came out.
Yeah.
Still, a lot of time dedicated to television. So first, I just want to make a quick segment about these shows because for me, they haven't missed. I mean, some are better than others, but like I am constantly entertained by all of these. First up, Ted Lasso, starring Jason Sudeikis, created by Jason Sudeikis.
Okay.
It's about a British football team in the Premier League, which is like the highest league
like
in
soccer.
Soccer, yeah.
Okay.
And they hire an American football coach.
Like American football.
American football with like the pigskin, and
that's funny.
he won a football national championship.
That's a funny place to start with this show, like because it's like that's like just like like every kid's gonna make that joke at some point.
Yeah. The football? Which football?
You mean soccer?
But yeah, so the premise is this coach Ted Lasso. He coached Wichita State, and in his first year at this D2, his first year at this D2 school, wins the national championship, turning them from a garbage program, taking them to the promised land. Right.
Yeah.
So this owner named Rebecca overseas for AFC Richmond hires this guy, and to coach her soccer team, her European football, or everywhere else in the world football.
Yeah.
And she's looking to run the team into the ground. It's one of those premises. So that's why she'd hire an American football coach. I'm shocked nobody put it together. But that was her goal. And just from there, Ted Lasso is the most likable character I've ever watched in anything. Okay?
Okay.
And that's the point of him, is that, like, everyone overseas wants to hate him because he's the American coach who's going to run this team into the ground. How could you possibly do this? You don't know anything about soccer.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
So everyone in Europe wants to hate him, but you cannot hate this man. That is the point of his character, is he's the most likable man on earth. and like, not like a douchey likable, like he's trying to make you like him. It is, you are not going to not like him. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And he's got an assistant coach who is just always there by his side, a perfect balance to the positivity that Ted Lasso radiates. And it's a lot of fun watching him win everybody over, and how the
but
series
he still
progresses.
doesn't know how to coach soccer.
Knows nothing about soccer. He passes that on to his assistant. His focus as a coach is to make the guys better as people.
Right.
And wins and losses don't really matter. Eventually that gets to be a problem because now they're professionals, not college. So
this isn't a rec league.
Yeah. But it turns into, it's one of my favorite comedy series of all time already, and it's one season, 10 episodes. Just absolutely phenomenal. So if you have Apple TV Plus, check out Ted Lasso. Next up,
For sure.
Dickinson.
It's with
Haley Steinfeld. She stars as Emily Dickinson.
Oh, what's the one then with 11?
With Millie Bobby Brown?
Brown.
I don't think that's on Apple TV Plus. Are you thinking of Enola Holmes?
I am. Yeah,
that's on Netflix.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dickinson.
Getting my young
adult
portrayals of old white women wrong.
Yeah, but Emily Dickinson, the show Dickinson, is just fucking great. I'm assuming we don't actually have a lot of historical documentation about what Emily Dickinson was up to. Mm-hmm. So this show is written based upon Emily Dickinson poems. Like, what must have inspired her to write these. And what's famous about Dickinson is that her poems are notoriously hard to interpret. So it's like, watching these things and the way they come up with things to apply to the poems, it's really entertaining because the portrayal of Dickinson is just phenomenal. She's an artist who can't be tamed. Yeah. Basically, she never wants to get married, never wants to be tied down like that. She thinks marriage is a prison, stuff like that. And obviously there are wrenches thrown at her throughout the series. Otherwise, I mean, like, what's the point? And it's just really good. It's interesting to see the portrayal of women because during that time, obviously this is early 1800s, there's women don't have a lot of rights, so they talk about their voting and stuff. Like Emily Dickinson's dad runs for like Senate or something, and she's like, he's like, it's election day, and she's like, why would I give a shit? I don't get to vote. And he's like, fair enough. You know? It's just and stuff like that, and it's funny too because they talk modernly a lot. Really, it's not 1800s dialogue a lot. Like they play a lot of rap music. There's a lot, like, not in the show, like that's part of the soundtrack. Well, you know,
but just like still in general that being
and it's hilarious. Like the way they intersection just modern culture to like 1800s, the way they would have acted is hilarious. And like they've got a dude who's like a fuckboy. One lady like draws a nude for him because she couldn't take a picture. Oh my gosh. And he shares the nude around with his friends. He takes the piece of paper, the drawing, and shows it to everybody and says, this is her. And like, now everybody in town's seen her body and stuff like that, you know, like, and the modern, the old take on what something relatively modern. Right. It's interesting because like there's a good potentiality that happened then.
Yeah, that definitely is true. It's weird to think about the fact that people probably don't change that much.
It's astonishing. But yeah, Dickinson, and it's very artful.
Yeah, we're better now.
Wiz Khalifa is in it.
Wiz Khalifa.
He plays
what?
He plays death.
What?
Yeah.
I gotta watch this.
Oh, dude, we'll watch it together because I know you'll love this show. Yeah, Dickinson. Can see death.
I remember seeing the trailer for this and being like, okay, Apple TV exclusive. This sounds like a load of bullshit. But then I watched, like, I didn't like the fact that Apple TV was coming out with a streaming service of their own. So I was already predisposed to like whatever they created. But I watched this preview, and I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I would be interested in a show about Emily Dickinson.
It's really good. And I say Ted Lasso is like the best. I think that like critically, Dickinson's probably the best. Ted Lasso just brings me the most joy.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Central Park, which is an animated series that's kind of a musical. It's got Leslie Odom Jr., Kristen Bell, Katherine Hahn, Titus Burgess, who was in Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Leslie Odom Jr. was in Hamilton. Katherine Hahn's been in a whole bunch of comedies forever. And, Kristen Bell obviously is very famous. And they're a family who lives in Central Park. Their dad's the park manager, and the premise is that Bitsy Brandenham, a billionaire, is going to buy Central Park and, turn it into more city, destroy the park. And her maid is, or not maid, but kind of an assistant, all-encompassing, is played by Daveed Diggs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you get a little bit of everything in this movie in the show with just
it looks like they got a lot of good people.
Oh, they got a great cast on that show, and like all the songs are like very, very situational. You will never listen to these songs casually because they are all very, very about what's going on in the show, but they're all catchy as fuck. Every time I'm watching, I'm like, God, I love this. It just brings me a lot of joy. It's very entertaining. I don't have much else to say about it. It's just a very entertaining show.
Okay.
Next up, we got Mythic Quest, Raven's Banquet. I clicked on this having zero idea what it would be about.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is this?
I was like, how the fuck? I was like, Mythic Quest sounds cool. It has Rob McElhenney in it, who was in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And I was like, I'm in. I'll check it out. And he is the creative director of a video game company, and their video game is Mythic Quest. And the pilot, they're launching their first expansion pack, Raven's Banquet. So it's actually interesting that the whole show's called Mythic Quest, Raven's Banquet, because honestly, I really think that should have just been like the title of the pilot. The rest of it,
I still don't. Mythic Quest, Raven's Banquet.
It's not a good title. It's very not a good title.
I'm just like, I don't know what to feel after hearing that.
Well, and the thing is that it completely. It's going to send people running the title because it does not fit at all what the show is. I mean, obviously, Mythic Quest is like a League of Legends type game. It's like one of those, and they've got a the cast is just.
This is the docu series.
No, this is a comedy. This is one of the comedies. It's super funny. Not nearly as good to me as Dickinson or Ted Lasso, but still highly enjoyable. Very funny. Rob McElhenney plays a super egotistical hyper masculinity, just doucher.
Yeah.
And it's all about his relationship with his employees, and they have a boss named David who is just he's a soy boy beta cuck, as they would call him.
Okay.
They call him that in the show, just to give you an idea.
Soy boy beta cuck.
And he goes, "What's a soy boy beta cuck?" And he's like, "I'll tell you later." Is it a good thing? Yeah. Well, that's good. And then he But yeah, Mythic Quest, Raven's Banquet, also pretty solid. And then I also wanted to talk about the docuseries I watched. It's called Long Way Up. It's Ewan McGregor and Charlie.
Mountain?
Not really, but they do climb mountains. So a little bit, but they're riding electric motorcycles from the most southern point of South America all the way up to Los Angeles.
That doesn't even sound fun.
They've done this before. They had a documentary in 2004 called Long Way Around, where they rode from London to New York east. And
How
then,
the fuck is that?
I mean, they probably had to like take a boat across and then ship the bikes across too.
I was about to say,
and then they have
I don't
one.
think my geography is that bad.
Yeah. And then they have one called Long Way Down, from Scotland to the southern tip of Africa, which is 24,000 miles or something like that.
Yeah.
This was 13,000 miles and Long Way Up. It's the most modern one. It only happened this year. They recorded it in 2019. Good timing for them to have gone on a fucking worldwide trip.
Right.
And, I mean, I'll watch Ewan McGregor do anything. That's Obi-Wan Kenobi, you know?
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Right.
So, and just, it's all about them interacting with the people, them making their journey up there. At times, it's like when I watch the older ones, because I also watched Long Way Down. It is funny watching these white men interact with the people of different, and they do a good job of being observant and not like trying to have like a savior complex, you know, where they try to like benefit the people. Really, it's just kind of like we're here to say hi, hang out with you guys for a bit, and we're gonna get going. Right. So there's nothing that like makes you feel like why watching, you know. It's all pretty good. And I mean, I just love Ewan McGregor, so I'm always in for that. But yeah, Apple TV Plus has got a good slate of shit out there, dude.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I'm definitely going to check out more things. I watched the pilot of C with Jason Momoa. Okay. Which is just, it looks like that's one of those, the creators wanted to create a lore. Kind of like a Game of Thrones would have, because they have names for things that are like you're gonna want to learn these names so that you kind of understand what they're talking about. Yeah, like they make enough references to things that you're like, wait, what's that? You're like, okay, all right, I gotta figure this shit out. But yeah, I'm obviously more lately into the 20-minute ish episodes, so the comedies are right up my alley. I was like, I'm gonna carve through these.
That's the ideal.
So yeah, if you have Apple TV, I think Apple TV Plus is definitely worth at least a look-see. You know, it's I think
Did you ever figure out why you have Apple TV Plus?
They randomly offered like a really cheap year-long membership. It was like I don't know. My mom did it. She was like,
okay. So she bought it and just didn't tell you?
She said Betsky and signed up. And then like when we discovered that we had it, that's when my mom told me. She was like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. And I was like, I could have. Yeah, but when was this?
Yeah, you're like,
apparently it was like a week earlier.
You're like,
so
I
wasn't missing out on
what I do. Like, you know who I am. You know. Like,
I watch a lot of TV and I talk about it.
You're gonna just leave me hanging on a whole goddamn new streaming service.
But yeah, it's immaculate. I enjoy it greatly. So, strongly recommend Apple TV Plus. Next segment. So what we're going to do for this final segment is we're going to talk a little bit of rap. Some hip-hop. I know last time we got together, we didn't talk much about hip-hop. We talked a lot about we had a lot of alternative, some pop in there. We just kind of branched off a little bit.
I remember, yeah, we really, because that was the one where we were playing music, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were playing music and having conversations over the music.
And like the thing about hip-hop, I think that has become true for both of us, is that we don't necessarily need to listen to hip-hop all the time to
and that was the point we made, you know? But sometimes we're going to take a step back and we're going to appreciate the shit out of hip-hop. Yeah. So we saw an idea on Twitter and we decided to take it, make our own. You get $20 to create a collab album. You got 3 tiers: a $15 tier, a $10 tier, and a $5 tier. And each of these, we have 6 rappers. So in the $15 tier, we got Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, Andre 3000, and Kanye West. In the $10 tier, we got Busta Rhymes, we got Eminem, we got Ghostface Killah, we've got Jay Electronica, Pusha T, and Lil Wayne. And then in the $5 tier, we got Joey Badass, A$AP Rocky, Isaiah Rashad, J.I.D., Kid Cudi, and Denzel Curry. Now, these are by no means the 18 best rappers on earth. These are just 18 rappers we decided to throw together.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like that's how these usually come out.
They usually do.
Pretty arbitrary, but I mean, honestly, ours is objectively better than all the other ones because we made it. So,
yeah, I mean, no doubt.
Yeah,
we're just better.
For sure.
But you know, the point is, we have $20. We get to combine as many as we can, as long as it adds up to 20, and you go with it. What first thought do you go with?
You know, what's weird is like I actually didn't really think too in depth about it until right now, literally.
Yeah, me either.
But if you know, all right, so we're just gonna work our way from the top. And we also got to think about, combinations.
Absolutely.
Like,
That's the point
how
of
are
this.
these
How do
people
they
gonna,
mesh?
How are these people going to work together? And so what that means, you can't always discard some of the artists in the $5 category.
Absolutely not. In fact, you could create a $20 album with 4 of those $5 artists.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that's
easily
for sure. And just thinking about what type of album I would like to see made from this collection of artists.
One thought. Do you want to up it to $25?
I'm cool with that.
Because then we could have more combinations with the $10 tier. Like you could get 2 10s and a 5.
I'm cool with that.
So we're going to change it to $25 overall.
All right, yeah.
Keep that in mind, not 20 anymore. Sorry, that's an on the fly change, but I looked at the list and I was like, yo, this would make more sense with the $25 limit.
Yeah.
So let's do that, $25.
But the kind of album I'd be thinking of making, it's got jazz in it.
It's got to have jazz.
It's got jazz in it. And so that means I got to have Zay.
You got to have Zay.
I got to have Kendrick.
You got to have Kendrick, and that's 20 right there.
And that's 20 right there, which leaves me with another 5. And honestly, Zay and Kendrick is that's of any duo on here, that's the one that I
That's
want.
the one you'd take. Yeah,
That's,
I mean,
a whole album
I love,
of that?
Oh, I love
a whole.
a Kendrick Zay album, like a Cole JID album. Buddy.
Oh, man.
Obviously, that's only $20 too. But
Yeah.
I think either of those combinations, you throw Joey Badass into the mix, and you're set.
That's what I'm saying. That was my pick. Zay, Kendrick, Joey.
Could not agree more. Fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, like what I don't. God, think about the duality that you get with a Joey Badass and then a Kendrick Lamar, or a Joey Badass and a Isaiah Rashad. Because actually, how this would probably go is Kendrick is at the forefront. Kendrick is just naturally expected to be this big voice, and that
100%.
Yeah, and like that's how the Black Panther album played out too. But I think he's very creative about how he asserts himself on albums, and so Kendrick would be a regular voice, but Joey on one side doing like this sort of I don't know, like this smooth boom bap, like underground, like 90s sort of shit, and then you got Zay just spitting bars,
doing anything
over some smooth shit, like
that's a phenomenal
I
idea. That's a phenomenal idea. And what's hard about this $10 tier for me is that I don't know how they mesh with it at all.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, there's some combinations that I think work here. Obviously, we've seen it work with Jay-Z and Jay Electronica with a written testimony, because that shit was album of the year for me.
Yeah, and we've seen it work with Ye and Pusha T.
Absolutely, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of good options here. I would absolutely love a Kendrick Lamar by Lil Wayne album. These two together joining forces, we get 15, like a 10-track to 12-track album of Kendrick Lamar and Lil Wayne just Mona Lisa and all over the place, and I'm there.
See, I was having that same thought that you are, except with 3 Stacks.
Okay, you think 3 Stacks and Wheezy?
Think about the way they use their voices and the wordplay.
It would be exquisite.
That shit would be, I'm just thinking about like Lil Wayne's like high pitched voice and like the way that he's like so clever with words. And then hearing 3 Stacks, who is not quite as clever with words, but still exceptionally clever, but much better with like creating unique sounds with his voice. And like Wheezy's good at that, but to a lesser extent. So like they just
balance each
other out.
I'm trying to think of a combo that involves potentially 3 Stacks with some $5. Maybe we get some Andre 3000 and Kid Cudi. We get some more of that Passion, Pain, and Demon Slaying sort of sound.
Yeah.
With 3 Stacks and Cudi, and you know what's funny is when I come to this $5 tier and I've just got to pick one of them out. I feel confident that either Joey Badass or Isaiah Rashad will fit with anybody. I have zero doubts about that.
I'm pretty confident in that too. They've proven themselves to kind of be able to just rap. And JID, honest.
Well, that's the thing though, is that I don't know how well JID would fit over the idea I have for the concept with 3 Stacks and Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to doubt him though, because I just know this man's just killing it. You know, it's just
thing.
he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal.
No, for sure. I'm trying to figure out a way to work Denzel in though, because Denzel's got that man's got some talent.
Let's talk. Give me Pusha T.
Ooh,
Give me Denzel Curry.
Oh, okay.
And you know what? Give me Busta fucking Rhymes.
Honestly,
Throw Busta Bus, Pusha T, and Denzel Curry on the same album, and that shit is going to be the hardest thing you heard in ages.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, that would be hard. I'm not gonna lie. I'm Busta or Ghostface though.
When it comes to that combo there,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, Ghostface goes very well with that combo as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Busta adds a flavor that
Yeah. Okay.
just nobody replicates Busta. That's just not happening.
Nah.
It's just now I have your entendimiento. You know, you heard that shit on Look Over Your Shoulders. That man just does what the fuck he wants on a track.
No, that's it.
And it's good.
Yeah,
it's
good
exceptional
somehow, some way.
And I think Busta Rhymes by Pusha T with Denzel Curry on it would just be killer.
Oh yeah. No, I think so too. And honestly, I could see Jay Elec even fitting in well with that group as well.
Yes.
Like
Jay Electricity.
Jay Elec is like someone who's got like. So we know Jay Elec and Jay goes together.
No doubt. I want to figure out some more Jay Electronica combos.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Jay Elec and Joey would be something. Like, that's no doubt. Jay Elec.
You know what's funny is like we have as an option here that like has a distinct possibility in real life, but nobody's really interested in.
What?
Eminem and Kid Cudi.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah, you remember that shit they dropped, the Man on the Moon or the Moon Man and Slim Shady or something?
Yeah, that I remember that not being very good.
I mean, it wasn't bad. It was just like it's just such a wild combo. I never would have asked for Eminem with Kid Cudi.
Yeah, I feel like there's like one person in each of these categories that just probably won't ever get picked by us. That being ASAP, Eminem, and Ye.
Ye, yeah, no doubt. You know what I want is this isn't on the list, but I just want another Snoop Dogg Wiz Khalifa collab album, bro. I
swear.
need that.
They got to at some point though, right?
Bro, they have to. I need that so bad.
Yeah, no, that would
just
be hard, not gonna
they're
lie.
the best together. Okay, few combinations in music history have made me quite as happy as Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa. Okay.
No, I feel that. I feel that for sure.
Just the shit.
Snoop Dogg, Wheezy, Snoop Dogg.
I don't know, Snoop Dogg and Wheezy. I think that could go really well.
I think that could too. But I was thinking of even some younger dudes because Snoop collaborates with young dudes very well.
Mm-hmm. Snoop and JID.
But I don't Snoop. That was my first instinct. But beyond that, I don't know if anyone else. And like Joey could make something shake. But I don't know if I want a whole album of Joey and Snoop.
Give me a Snoop, JID, Denzel.
Denzel
Curry.
I can see that actually.
I mean, it's going to be funky. It's going to be weird because that's the thing about Snoop too, is that he collabs well, but he's not going to change for anybody.
Right.
He's going to do him.
Right.
So it's going to have to be JID and Denzel, and I think JID can do Snoop Dogg can do like a Snoop Dogg vibe really well.
Yeah.
Denzel's the only guy we haven't seen really encapsulate that, I don't think. Because I think JID's done it with like Strawberries.
Oh yeah.
Bro,
yeah.
That song, like that's a Snoop Dogg song straight up.
No, it is. That's just straight up. Who we got with Cole? Can you not?
I mean, Cole JID-Z.
Cole JID-Z. That's it.
That's
it. Or maybe Cole JID Joey, but
how about Cole J Elect straight up collab?
I ain't even think that was good until you put it in my head.
I didn't either. Because
I feel like
I said it out loud.
I feel like I considered it like silently and was like, nah. But then you said it, and I really thought about it.
I just kept looking at it because I'd had the thought earlier, and I was like, nah. But then we kept talking about. We hadn't mentioned many duos, and I kept thinking about it, and I was like, if you give me some fucking For Your Eyes Only Cole, and you throw that with some JLX, I think we got something mean here. I think we got some fucking Everybody Dies J. Cole.
Yeah, that's what
False
I'm saying.
Prophets J. Cole.
I'm saying the climb back J. Cole, like, because yeah, that shit would be hard. Like, think about like, For Whom This Bell Tolls. Like, and then think
For Whom the Bell Tolls could be like. I want to combine that with, a written testimony. I want to put that with like Ezekiel's Wheel.
Yes. I was thinking either that or the last song,
APIDTA or something like that.
Yeah, Like you put Cole on that hook instead of Jay-Z.
I got numbers in my phone.
Oh,
never ring
shit.
Again.
Yo.
And a lot of them set them home.
Yo, honestly, straight up, I think AI.
Yo. Did J. Cole write that song? That's written for J. Cole. Give me a second.
Like, you just said that, and I was like, yeah, I can hear it. I can hear the whole song.
That's so J. Cole. That's, oh my God.
Damn.
I never thought of it.
I never even thought of that.
But no,
either.
that hook is Jake. It's a J. Cole verse. Like that that he should perform that.
Damn. Yeah.
Oh my God, I can hear it. In that that kind of mumbled voice he does every now and then. I got numbers in my phone that never ring again.
Yo, Cole and JLA. I might have to give. I mean, I would at this point.
I'm trying to consider more duos.
I'm not gonna lie though. Cole and JLA might be the most. I've now become the most excited for that duo.
Right? The more we talk about it, the more I'm in.
The more I'm like, yo. And then you got to think about how like. JLX been going in on religion, like he's always been like kind of religious, and then you get Cole saying some soulful like real life shit, because like that's the type of writing Cole does. Like Cole doesn't do the writing Kendrick does. Kendrick does this like very complex sort of like social critique shit, like where he's talking about like social realities and what it's like being Kendrick Lamar from Compton. But Cole he's just telling like shit that everybody can relate to, and that's why everybody loves Cole, is because he's saying some shit that you're just like, damn, like.
Yeah, we all got that.
I remember that girl from math class, bro. I ain't gonna lie. But like,
you said it a little weird, but I'm with you. All right.
It's like you overshared a little too much, but for the sake of the song, shit's still fire.
I get
bro.
that this was a coming of age story, but I ain't need so much of the coming. All right, guy.
Yo, I'm so glad that's recorded.
I am too. I'm gonna set that as like a little outtake and play it at the beginning.
Yeah,
bro. But I mean, Cole and the leg. That's really getting me excited right there. That's... I mean, and whenever I talk about like, what's funny is that like I love J. Cole with my entire heart, bro. I love his music so damn much. But I can't help but think anywhere we mention Cole, Kendrick would just apply better. It's just that Kendrick Lamar can do what Cole does.
Yeah.
And he does it well.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, like, the only thing that would separate it is that maybe Cole's voice goes a little better with JLX. But Kendrick just always does something that you cannot deny.
Yeah, like, let's be honest. Kendrick with anyone in the 10 category is
gonna slap. Bro, Kendrick by Busta, proven good. Yeah, Kendrick by Eminem, probably proven good somewhere. Kendrick by Ghostface, can't even imagine how fucking good that'd be. Kendrick and JLX,
Kendrick's even deeper on the religion stuff than Cole.
Exactly. Kendrick and Push, bro, that's the one.
We already did.
That's the one. It's Kendrick and Push.
That's the one. Yo.
Bro, it's Kendrick and Push. I mean Kendrick and Weezy. We already talked about that one.
We
That one's been
already know that's a wrap.
But I mean Kendrick and Push.
10 to 12 nostalgias.
I mean, here. I kind of want to keep doing duos for the $15 tier. Just go one by one and figure out who meshes best. So we're settling on Kendrick Push, Cole J-Elect, Jay-Z. J-Elect obviously works really well. I'd like to see Jay-Z.
Ghostface?
Ghostface was my first instinct.
Ghostface? Yeah, I was thinking they're both New York. And I just feel like nobody's contemplated Jay and Ghostface.
Yeah, it's not something I've ever thought about.
But I don't know. Jay is not a very different type of persona than Ghostface is. Ghostface is like type of dude that it's Ghostface Killer. That's his name. His name is Ghostface Killer. Like, I remember the first time, like, my mom told me about Ghostface Killer. She was like, you don't want to fuck with Ghostface Killer.
That might be the hardest rap name of all time.
Oh, yeah.
That's something I don't think we've talked about.
Damn.
Ever is the hardest rap names of all time. But Ghostface Killer is top 2, and it's probably not 2.
Probably not 2. Like, what's better?
Certainly nobody on this list.
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg's got that classic quality to it.
But, like, that's because of what he did. Like, you hear somebody, like, come to the stage, let's welcome to the stage, Ghostface Killer.
This guy better kill shit. Yeah, no, if not, literally. He doesn't deserve the name.
Yeah.
And Ghostface Killer continuously kills it.
Mm-hmm.
Push T, that's always been kind of hard. Jay Electronica, that's kind of dope too. But they're just not Ghostface Killer.
Jay and Weezy?
Jay-Z?
Yeah,
and
Jay-Z,
Weezy?
Jay-Z and Weezy?
I think that's good.
That might be I think that's the Jay matchup though. Because, like, I can't not wonder about Jay-Z and Lil Wayne. These are two dudes who do not write.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about it. They just get in the booth and just spit.
And they have had the careers they have.
Can you imagine them having a verse kind of like Andy Pac Corday on R&P? Them going back and forth like that?
Yo,
it's like a social experiment, bro. Yeah. I want to see that happen. Because, like, neither of them writing.
Mm-hmm.
Them going off top and having to feed off what the other person said, that would be electric.
Yeah.
And I know they both have that capability.
So good. That would be so good.
I think I don't think Snoop really meshes well with any of the $10 tier.
Snoop and Pusha, maybe.
I say Weezy. Like, again, Snoop and Weezy's probably the best combo for him.
Snoop and Weezy, yeah, I agree. Maybe Snoop and no, not Ghostface, not Snoop and Eminem. I feel like
they could probably work well together. Probably.
They could do something.
We could get some still DRE type shit up in here.
Yeah, right. They got the connection through Dre.
Dre, yeah. That'd probably work the best. Oh, I mean, a Snoop by Eminem album produced by Dr. Dre.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in. Like that. You throw a produced by Dr. Dre on there, and that's an album I'm unquestionably there for.
It's over with. It's over.
3 Stacks, I still think probably meshes best with Weezy, but I don't mind the idea of 3 Stacks by Eminem.
I was thinking either 3 Stacks by Eminem or Busta.
Busta would work really well too. I think that's the thing about 3 Stacks too. Is I kind of think of him the way I think of Kendrick. I think that like he certainly, and 3 Stacks is different than Kendrick in that like he certainly has his thing. You know, like Kendrick can bend and break and do shit that you'd never anticipate him doing. And Andre 3000, he'll do that too, but he always has the same voice. Right, you know, you always know it's Andre 3000. There will be songs where Kendrick will come in, and for a second, I'll be like, "Wait a minute, that was like the wildest flow I've ever heard come out of that man." Yeah. Like, fucking in Mona Lisa. Is that the shit that you do?
Yeah.
Touching yourself, watching naked videos, hop on the internet, watching his interviews. I don't know. Like, what is he doing? It's fucking phenomenal. Yeah. But like that's like the ability 3 Stacks has.
Oh no, that's where Kendrick got it from.
Oh, he's 100% influenced by 3 Stacks.
Yeah, like, no, he just saw it. Like you. I don't know. People heard 3 Stacks and they heard something they never heard before.
We talked about that 3 Stacks and Weezy dichotomy, and I think you throw those two together, hurtling at 100 miles an hour, the explosion creates Kendrick Lamar. Like, it's just
yo, that's funny. 3 Stacks and Weezy is Kendrick Lamar. That makes almost too much sense.
I mean, it just fits.
It does.
But yeah, I think 3 Stacks and Weezy. I'm realizing Weezy is probably the most versatile $10 tier here. I feel like he's gonna fit best with most of those guys.
Yeah, Ye and Weezy would be hard. 3 Stacks and Weezy would be hard. Snoop and Weezy could be hard. Jay and Weezy could be hard. Cole and Weezy could be hard. Kendrick and Weezy definitely hard.
Yeah, like it's no doubts about Weezy, man. He's gonna be good.
I mean, honestly, let's be honest. Weezy belongs in the $15 category.
He was the last name we put on the entire list because he just happened to slip our minds, and we were like, "Fuck, we've got one open on the 10."
I always forget about Lil Wayne.
Yo, because like
he's so I'm just like
he's always just
Lil Wayne. Like
he's just an unquestioned greatness, you know?
Yeah, right. It'll be sad when he dies, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that's in the next 20 years.
Let's settle on our $25. Who you spending it on for this collab album? What's your final answer?
Cole and J.
Cole and J. I can't get past it. I can't get past it. It's too good.
I'm just like looking at their names next to each other, and I'm just like, that looks so.
What's funny too is we've got so many names on this list. When we rattled off those names, I was like, no way I settle on J. Cole and J. Electronica. There's no way. But here I am.
J combo too.
J and J.
I don't know what it is about the J's, man.
They make it work. Yeah, I mean,
Jermaine Cole.
In the spirit of mixing shit up, I mean, my gut, I can't get past the Cole and J. thing. That's my first choice. That would be hard. But like, I gotta think of Joey, Badass, JID, Isaiah Rashad, and Denzel Curry all on something together would just murder. Like, just be the shit. All $5 tier.
Yeah, that would be quite an album. Not gonna lie.
Never mind.
I feel like you do lose with more people. Honestly, I feel like it's harder to make a good album.
I agree,
especially for people whose like creative interests haven't always been aligned. You know, they're independent artists. Like they all have their own creative directions. Like even groups, like whole people who come on the scene as groups become so creatively different individually that they break up. And they're like, fuck it, I'm doing my own shit.
You're right.
But that does not interact with the fact that I would still love to hear Joey, JID, Zay, and Denzel.
Oh yeah.
Wait, and fucking Cuddy if we get 25. Like,
oh shit, yeah, I forgot it's 5. It's not like shit, man. That
Cuddy brings it together every song. Denzel at the rapping part, Zay and JID, and Joey just do their thing, and then
we have like one train for every song.
I was just listening to that this morning. That shit
is killer. One last thought. Busta, J-Elect, Joey Badass. That's it. That's my last thought.
Busta, J-Elect, Joey.
It's my last thought. I think that'd be pretty solid too. Just if they got on the same page. But my first choice is still J. Cole, J. Electronica. I just can't get it out of my head that APIDTA was written for J. Cole.
Yo, like, what the hell? Oh man, they missed out on that one. They could have thrown him on one song.
God.
She.
They should have. Yuck. Shall we sign off, my friend?
I believe so.
This has been the Penny Bloom Podcast. It was the 59th episode. Just wild. We're really getting numbers up there.
Yeah.
10 episodes away from 69, which would be just nice.
Thank you for that.
Of course. I am Colton Robertson. I was joined by none other than the magnificent Tavares Pennington.
Yep.
Peace
out.
Thank you, my friend, for being here. It's been a few weeks. I
missed you. You know. Also, shout out my man Keanu Reeves.
You know, it's nothing but peace, love, and bloom, and always praising Keanu Reeves.
Always, like not a day goes by.
Not a day go by. Always praise Keanu Reeves.
Always.
Deuces. Always.